Talk a little bit about the food pyramid that was changed in 1970. 1970, they changed the food pyramid where it was primarily grain, wheat, and flour was our main intake, which was carbohydrates. They had moved that around. They also had changed cholesterol. That was a normal at 300, and they took it down to 200. That was right when they came out with statins, and statins would actually lower your cholesterol, which is nothing that we need. We need cholesterol in our diet to operate our brain and all of our cells. Cholesterol is so important. And we have to focus on that and really know that some of those things that we had got taught aren't healthy for us. And we have to find a different way to look at things and get healthy again through nutrition, and that is food. So cholesterol is in fat. So they did a study way back in the 50s with Ansel Keys, and that study got turned into a hypothesis that was not true, and he proved that cholesterol was caused by carbohydrates. Cholesterol was caused by saturated fat. The saturated fat that is from red meat was demonized by Ansel Keys, and there was not any information that was backing a lot of his studies that he did. And he did the studies with 22 different countries, and he cherry picked 7 different countries that would really take his thought and hypothesis to where he wanted to take it, and that was to prove that saturated fat caused heart disease. And those were false reports. So with those false reports, it went straight all the way in, all the way to the American Heart Association that has the documentation that saturated fat causes heart disease, and that is not the case at all. We need saturated fat in our diet. The cholesterol is for our brains, our hormones, our bones, our skin, our eyes. Everything operates off of cholesterol. So we got to make sure that we know what the difference is. Why were we taught just the opposite? You really want to ask yourself, if we got taught the opposite of what we're actually eating, how do you know that this is true? Well, again, I always encourage you to go back and do some of your own research, look at Ansel Keys, follow through on some of his studies, see which ones might interest you. But it does come back to that, and it's information that I would like to share with everybody, because why would, if I didn't know this and somebody didn't tell me, I would be upset and disappointed knowing that I can correct a lot of my health issues, low energy, brain fog, all those different things that occur with a high carbohydrate diet, which is a lot of people, they gain weight, they get obese from that, and it's just a constant rat race on trying to get healthy, and those carbohydrates are the main havoc to the whole situation. And once somebody does get the information and they understand what proper nutrition is, you'll go back to seeing what it was before the 1970s and some of the things that got changed for us in the food paradigm. And it did get changed. And when that got changed, if you can all look, in the 70s, a lot of people were thinner. They looked great on the beach, and year after year after year, this had got more and more progressed to where they were selling a lot of carbohydrates, processed food, sugar, fructose, all that came easy, fast, convenient, and there's how we fueled ourselves. During that time, we grew a lot of health issues with each one of these. Every sector of the health industry has grown because of this carbohydrate overdose. Really, that's what it is. We're constantly eating carbohydrates every day, and carbohydrates are just not a fuel that we need to be functioning on. Somebody does get this information, they change their diet over to a high-fat diet, and they start seeing improvements in many different areas. and it's one after another, from headaches gone to losing weight to skin issues disappearing, so many different health issues that disappear. And there's a lot of people that have testimonials talking about how they changed their diet and what they had done. And again, a lot of these things were taught to us were not the correct information. It was more out of what they needed to do to make things work, to make the income and the economy keep going at that time. So here we are 30, 20, 50 years later, and we're now still facing some of the most catastrophic health concerns, chronic health issues that we've been facing for many years now. And with the right information, you can turn this around and reverse what you have. It's not rocket science. It's something that is obtainable. I know I've worked with a lot of people that once they did figure out what this was and got on board, it was not difficult. It was a lifestyle change, and they will not go back because they know the benefits. They'll see all the benefits that they've been getting, and once you realize that, and I guess a good way to describe that is, some people can tolerate alcohol and some other things to that. But if you have somebody that doesn't drink any alcohol and they may drink some, it may make them sick. And it's because they're not used to that in their system. And it's the same way when we start eating a high-fat diet and stick with that, and we come in with a maybe something that's got a lot of sugar or fructose in it, it may cause some headaches, it may sleepiness, low energy, brain fog, those things that we get from carbohydrates, not realizing what that is until you have a clean fuel that you're burning, then you bring that other one in and you can really feel the difference. So I think that between getting accustomed to a high-fat diet, you're able to see the difference. And when you do, you'll say, hey, I've had enough of these carbohydrates. I want energy. I want the youth that I used to have. And it's a great thing to have. And once you do regain that, you don't want nobody to take it from you. And once you get it, nobody can take it from you either, because it's what you do with yourself and your diet and your health. And you definitely want to change your health for the better. A lot of them people out there are just not happy with where they're at. And I believe everybody should at least give it a try. Give it 90 days. 90 days is all you got to do, and see the results that you got, especially if you're facing a lot of chronic illness or fatigue. Those different things can actually change so many different ones, from Crohn's, colitis, arthritis, dementia. There's so many of these different things that it can help and change the way that we treat ourselves for recovery. And this recovery part this is a perfect piece of it. And to be able to put that in, I think it's something that we should be able to all do without no problems at all. Why is that? It's very simple to change your diet. Is that something that you would do to get higher energy, boost your vitality, double to triple your testosterone? I'm sure you would like to have your hormones leveled out. And this is something that's very obtainable. And we have testimonials. We have people that have been doing this for a long time, and they've seen all the results. And I believe that everybody should try this. Why? Because they should have the right proper education on what that you get for your nutrition that's going to change the way you feel. 76% of people get off of their medication through a diet lifestyle change like this, and that is through your doctor. You have to work with your doctor on that. We are not a doctor here. We're education to help you get the tools that you need to put together to change some of those things and start working through the time to get results very quickly and be done with it. It's not easy being sick, tired, inflammation, it gets old real fast, especially been battling for a long time. So I encourage you to take a look at this. It's something that will help, and I would like to help you as a coach any way I can. There's some more information down below. We're going to be doing some more videos. I'm going to continue to do this. My passion is to help people get the right information so they can get healthy without any prescriptions.